our friends from the media that we are ready to go. Um, so once again, good morning. My job is very easy. On the agenda it says I should welcome you, so I'll say welcome. Because that's what the agenda says. Let me introduce myself. My name is Dirango Maina, and today I'm wearing two hats. One hat is as the chairman of the Lavington Five Roads Association, one of the four organizers of this press conference. The other hat is I'm the chairman of Metro Alliance, a group of associations in Nairobi who have come together to improve the city. As the chairman of Lavington, I have been made famous because of Lavington has become famous because apparently Lavington, together with Kileleshwa and Kilimani, according to our governor, we are the ones who are against development. We don't want the city to develop. So we have been directly mentioned and stung. Therefore, it's a good opportunity for us to clarify our stand, which is the stand of everyone who is in this room. Now, this meeting was inspired, or the spark that triggered this meeting was the statement attributed to the governor on Sunday. We didn't realize that a lot of Nairobi residents perceived it in the same way as people in Lavington, Kileleshwa, Kilimani, and beyond perceived that statement, because it started with a simple telephone call on Monday and people talking to each other and saying, no, we can't let this pass. It is important that we let Nairobians know what the residents think about Nairobi. Because it's not about those three areas that were mentioned. This is about Nairobi. And that's why I'm so grateful and I'm welcoming you once again to see just one phone call that began on Monday. 48 hours later, we have filled a room with concerned Nairobians. I will now hand over the mic to our moderator, who is David Obuki. He's chairman of Kiwana, that is Kileleshwa Residents Association, another group of people who don't like development in Nairobi, because they have been mentioned, and for him to kick off today's session. Bona.
Thank you very much. And should I just sit down? Wonderful. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. And once again, just to introduce myself, David Obuki, chairman of Kileleshwa Ward Residents Association. We are here today ostensibly to talk about the various matters that arise concerning Nairobi and the developments that we have seen, illegal and otherwise. Today we have before you a wonderful panel of people. We have a glorious panel, actually, number of professional bodies that are represented here. In addition to that, we have represented over 100 residents associations. So sitting before you here are chairmen and people representing both professional bodies and residents associations across Nairobi. And so therefore, as we speak, we are going to be talking concerning Nairobi. We have a statement that is going to be read to you, and thereafter we are going to be taking some questions from the field. And we have a wonderful panel here of people who will be able to answer any questions that may arise out of the various matters that shall be spoken to in the statement that is here. We expect to take nothing more than 1 hour, so in an hour's time, we should be done. So once again, I warmly welcome you, and I want to hand over now to Florence Nyole, who is going to read for us our statement, our joint statement. It's a statement that is concerning this matter. Please welcome Florence.
Thank you very much, David, for this opportunity. Good morning once more. Good morning. Good morning. I believe we should be excited that we are able to express our freedom of speech and talk about our city with passion. As you've heard, my name is Florence Nyole. I'm an architect and I serve as the president of the Architectural Association of Kenya, and we're happy to be here together with a number of organizations, both from the professional side and from residents associations. And we'll be, reading our statement. That's my job. Maybe I shouldn't say much further than that. So on this day, 27th of March, 2024, we want to issue a press statement on a joint position regarding the Governor Johnson Sakaja's declaration on removal of height restrictions in Nairobi. Apologies for that. Take 2. Our joint position on Governor Johnson Sakaja's declaration on removal of height restrictions in Nairobi. As professional bodies in the built environment and residents associations within Nairobi, we wish to express our reservations to the recent public declaration made by Nairobi City County Governor Johnson Sakaja concerning the rezoning of some areas and the elimination of height restrictions on buildings within Nairobi County. While we are in agreement that there is a need to accommodate Nairobi's projected growth of 10.5 million by 2050, we wish to categorically state that the governor's approach blatantly disregards the correct legal. We further wish to unequivocally state that the Physical and Land Use Planning Act, PLUPA 2019, as is commonly known, is the ultimate planning and public participation. While the governor has the right to initiate zoning at the county level through the respective county executive committee member, the County Governments Act of 20 be aligned with relevant plans. The 2014 Nairobi Integrated Urban Development Plan, new plan as is commonly known, identified 7 subsector date. This process has not moved forward. These plans and procedures, as laid out in law, would ensure the creation of a shared vision for Nairobi, by taps for days on end, infinite power outages, and children have no space to play, just to name a few. Outlined in the law. Development control should be guided by physical land use plans, and since the new plan is yet to be implemented and neighborhood local physical development plans are non-existent, the county should prioritize the formulation and implementation of these plans. Only then should the formulation of a development control framework in harmony with national and regional development plans be considered. The recent flooding, gas explosions in residential areas, sewer bursts, worsening traffic congestion, limited to no water provision, constant electricity outages, and rampant insecurity in Nairobi are clear indicators of the dire consequences of unplanned and haphazard development. Proper planning is the only solution to managing the chaos we are currently witnessing in Nairobi. There are a myriad of denser and more popular cities that run more efficiently than Nairobi across the world, with the quality of life that we all aspire to due to well thought out urban planning and design. We call upon Governor Sakaja and the County Department of Lands, Housing and Urban Development to follow due process and deliver their promise to Nairobians to accord Kenya's capital its due dignity by facilitating the development and implementation of local physical development plans at all levels, and having a shared vision with those who elected them by pursuing infrastructure-led development. The residents of Nairobi, built environment professional bodies, and the private sector at large stand ready to engage with the county government of Nairobi and offer expertise and support to ensure that the city's growth is orderly, sustainable, and in compliance with the relevant laws and regulations for an improved quality of life for all Nairobians. The represented the Architectural Association of Kenya, Kilimani Project Foundation, Lavington 5 Roads Association, Kileleshwa Ward Neighborhood Association, Town and County Planners Association of Kenya, Kenya Alliance of Residents Association, Alliance of Nairobi Metro Residents Association, Manyani Road Residents Associations, Kunde Road Residents Association, Dennis Pitt Residents Association, Karen Langata District Association, Mara Residents Association, Rafter Road Residents Association, Upper Leleshwa Residents Association, South Sea Residents Association, the Architects Alliance, Loresho Mount Community Alliance, Kenya Green Building Society, Institution of Engineers of Kenya, Institution of Surveyors of Kenya, Northern Block Residents Alliance, Chalby Drive Residents Association, Institution of Construction Project Managers of Kenya, and Public Health Society of Kenya. Thank you, and we hereby submit our statement.
Thank you very much, Florence, for reading us that statement. It covers all the areas that we have been concerned about, and I know that copies of the same shall be availed to anybody who would require. Now, before us here is a panel of people who are passionate, people who are expert in their areas, and I want to introduce them to you so that thereafter we can open the floor for questions. Firstly, I'll just go by the list that I have here. We have architect Emma Miloyo. Maybe she can just raise her hand. She is here from the Kilimani Project Foundation. We have Dr. Abdul Malik Gishoki. He's also he's from South Sea. He is the chairman of South Sea Residents Association. Also was in urban planning, the Urban Planning Technical Committee, and therefore has a lot of knowledge about the insides of any processes regarding permits and that kind of stuff. We also have with us Teddy Obiero, who is the chair of Nyayo Embakasi, a community that has over 5,000 units. He's possibly he's leading perhaps one of the biggest estates around. We have Mr. Ndirangu Maina, who had earlier spoken and welcomed us. He's from the Lavington 5 Roads Residents Association. We have planner Patrick Adolwa. He's also here. Patrick Adolwa, he's possibly not arrived yet. Is he here? He has not lifted his hand. Sorry. I am sorry. That is he right there. We should have somebody from the Kenya Property Developers Association. I think he has yet to arrive here. We will wait for him. So that is our panel here. And I want to ask if at all there is any questions regarding our statement or indeed the situation in Nairobi. This panel will be able to field those questions. So feel free to ask any questions. Yes, please. Could we get a mic down there to that gentleman? Maybe you just give us your name and where you come from, and then we'll take your question. Good morning.
From Inoro TV, Royal Media Services. Maybe for Kikuyu stations, is there someone who can give us a brief for Kikuyu stations, kindly?
Meaning the statement read in Kikuyu?
Just a brief of what you guys, your issue. in
Okay,
Kikuyu?
that's an interesting question. I am not a Kikuyu speaker myself, so
Yeah.
after the press conference, I think we can give you that one. Thank you. There's a question right at the back there.
Thank you. Hello, sir. My name is Gatete Njoroge from Citizen TV. A number of questions because we have chairmen of different associations who are represented here. I think maybe you can share with us some of the challenges you are facing in your area, like Embakasi, South Sea, in terms of delivery of services by the county government. We know garbage is a big problem in the city, water is a big problem in the city, and we wanted to hear a bit from your side in terms of how the county is not delivering on this key mandate that it's supposed to deliver on. And also there has been a concern because there are those people who feel like the people who live in Pipeline live in this high-rise building, but when this high-rise building come to quote-unquote leafy suburbs, concerns come out, and it's a concern. Maybe you can address it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we'll start with the Residents Association of Kilimani. Maybe Kilimani can start, and then we will go to Nyayo.
Thank you very much, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you for all availing yourself to discuss matters of the city. My background is architecture and urban planning, so I'm a bit biased in that sense. But really, planning, as has been stated in our joint statement, is the foundation of life. It's what orders our interactions, and some of the challenges that have come out of lack of planning. Number one, of course, is a water scarcity. We all know Nairobi has about 526 cubic meters that come into the city with a demand of almost 800 to 1,000 cubic meters daily. So we are only meeting about half of what we require. That then pans out into dry taps, pans out into the challenges that we have seen in terms of boreholes being sunk by every development that's coming up. We know about the restrictions, they're not being adhered to, and this is affecting our water tables as well. All this is panning out into things that we're seeing in terms of mental health and challenges even in terms of respiratory. You can all hear all the dust out here. It's quite up. This broad framework be cascaded down in the spirit of devolution and in the spirit of that new plan that was funded by JICA to ensure that we have local area plans, and it is a participatory process that happens. Beyond those challenges, of course, of noise, of water, even infrastructure in terms of the roads, and the vision of the city we want is not being met. So in a summary, for us, those are the challenges we are facing every day, and we really want to tell the county government that if they have failed to provide these plans, we are ready to resource so that we ensure that development happens in an orderly fashion. There's space for everybody, but we must do it together for a win-win scenario. Thank you very much.
Good morning again, everyone. I come from Embakasi, one of the most densely populated regions in Nairobi. Now, Pipeline is right next to us. There is an outer ring road that separates us. And someone, Gatede, you mentioned Pipeline. Pipeline is a disaster. A law that restricts construction in the pipeline area, Tasia, to about 4 stories, I think 3 stories. Beyond that, I will tell you, an estate like Feather Estate, the last time they saw piped water coming through their taps is probably 3-4 months ago. Or more or less. Nyayo Estate has got 30,000. That's about 120 liters per resident per week. You're supposed to use that to wash, cook, and everything. It's not possible, people. So what we are saying, you need a plan. You need to have fire. You need to have your oil. You need to have your pan and everything ready. Nairobi is talking about 20. Actually, the governor. The population will increase to 10.5 million. And now a solution to this is to start going to 25 stories in 2024. So why are we building houses for people? And I'm very passionate about Embakasi every time I speak about this. Embakasi ward, with that population of about 360,000 residents, the governor speaks about increasing the number of schools in the city. He doesn't talk about the traffic congestion in the city. He doesn't talk about the water supply in the city. So how coming out clearly? So we are not saying do not go and build. Thank you so much, Governor, for showing us the projection. But what are you doing about it so far? That is the question.
All right. I can see Daktari there has an additional that he would want to add. So we want to give Daktari,
which at some point the governor described as a crime scene. Our basic problem is the unplanned development. So when anti-development, my response is we are just against environmental terrorism, because that's what those people are. They are terrorists. You find no law is being obeyed. First of all, the approvals are not based on any law. Second, the construction is not according to the approvals. The last time the inspectorate guys tried to get into a site in South Sea, they had broken skulls and legs. And the county government said they have been overpowered by the developers. I've never heard anywhere in the world where a government is overpowered by people who are breaking the law. So I think we need some seriousness in City Hall. First of all, like my colleagues said, we need proper plans done, and then follow those plans and ensure that construction is according to those plans. We are not against 10 stories, 15 stories, 100 stories. They are done elsewhere in the world. But are we building stories or are we building for people? In South Sea, there's a small Kaisungura road, a small road which had 16 single dwelling units, which has been converted into 16 12-story blocks, each with 36 units. So you are changing a population of 16 to 575. Assuming there are 5 people per room, you see how many people we are talking about per house. You know how many people we are putting there. This is served by a 3-meter road. So even cars can't pass each other. They have basement parking, but you can't get in and out of the parking or the basement. And this is done despite having county staff on the ground. No action is taken. And then next thing you know is another one is sprouting up next to you. So I think it's time we said enough is enough. Let's take our city back. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we need a planner's perspective. There's a perspective here that we need to hear. So let us hear from Planner Patrick Adolwa concerning some of the troubles that we are facing in our various estates.
Hamjambo. Hamjambo tena. You know, it's very difficult when you're a physician and you hear everybody talking about cancer or high blood pressure or dental issues in your presence. I hope you understand and appreciate what I'm saying, because everybody has his entitlement to what they think is a city and how a city should develop and how a city should be managed. And it can be very personal to everyone. And I can see Mheshimiwa looking at me because she believes I'm about to unleash some time bomb. No, I just want to be candid. That perhaps we are not prepared to live in cities and that perhaps we don't even understand what cities are as organisms, as living organisms. And I know that some people who are pronouncing themselves on the city today as leaders were probably in high school or in primary school when we started doing the new plan. In fact, I was director for a capital city. To have a planner who is anonymous speaks volumes to what people think of planning. Because in London, the city planner is second to the mayor. In London. In New York, the city planner speaks and everybody trembles. In Nairobi, the city planner is anonymous. And that tells you why we're in trouble. Because he matter. What he says doesn't count. I am the one who initiated new plan. As saying that, I am the one who, it took some foreigner called JICA to give us money, some stranger to come and give us money for our plan. Yes, but that's what always, because you do not understand what public interest is, you do not understand what public policy is, you do not understand urban development. Thank you so much. And because we are quiet, it doesn't mean that we don't know. And so when I hear people talking about cities, urban management, environmental management, flight paths, this city is not short of people who understand how to create spaces and places. But someone has failed us miserably, and we don't have to tolerate it anymore. Thank you.
I think you can see the level of anger that is in the room, and I don't think it is only in this room. I think it is around the city. Can we have that gentleman ask his question now?
Yeah. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Eric Odipo. I live along Kabasiran in Lavington. I don't think we fit anywhere in the associations that I've heard about, but I bumped into this thing last night and I thought it's a good thing to come. In our location, every couple of days or weeks, there's a notice about a development that is coming up. It's happening a lot. We see it. There's one currently that we understand might be a petrol station or something like that, which we don't really need. What is your advice to us? What should we do in a case like this where we have an interest and we're not happy with the development that we understand is coming?
Okay, thank you very much. We will allow our Lavington 5 Roads chairman to take that.
Thank you, Eric. We're your neighbors, and I think the petrol station proposal you are talking about is the one on Convent Drive, just before the bridge and the river. And it's a ridiculous application. Can you imagine this? A petrol station in a residential area next to a river. Next to a river. You've got underground tanks with fuels. If they were to leak, that would go directly to the river. The risks involved. We saw what happened at Muradi. So they put up this notice, change of user from residential to petrol station and commercial, because as you know nowadays, there is no petrol station that doesn't come with a mini shopping mall. So it's a mall as well. It's a mall as well. We mobilized objections because fortunately they put the objections, and we didn't hear anything. We got responses from the county government about 2 months later. Then we thought that matter, they said we have not received the applications yet. And we're actively chasing it at the county government. Then we thought that matter had died, just to see a classified advertisement in one of the newspapers. The same application, petrol station, is dropped. Now it says commercial center, shops and offices. And that's what is now being considered, but we have mobilized the whole neighborhood and we have rejected. So to answer your question, Eric, more directly, the first thing is residents need to be aware and they need to safeguard their areas. And they must insist that the law is followed in terms of the change of user process. And let's not ignore that notice that says raise objections if you have any. Now, that process, as we all know, requires public participation. So by law, and in fact by constitution, public participation is a right. They're supposed to come and convene a meeting and say, this is what we're trying to do as the neighborhood. What do you think? Now, we know three things that happen. One, sometimes it doesn't happen at all, that public participation, which is breaking the law. Second, the people who participate are not people from the neighborhood. That's again another problem we are facing. But third, which I think is the worst crime happening in Nairobi today, public participation is created as a sham. People come in a room, you have 100% objection from a neighborhood. 2 weeks later, you find excavators. So what is the point of consulting the neighborhoods if their opinion does not count? It's the opinion of one planner sitting at the city hall. So, public participation is one person. There's a slogan, a new slogan, which is a campaign slogan for the county that says, lazima iwak. So I think there was somebody who had a sense of humor, because you see, laughter, if you use alphabets to write it, is ha 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 ha, so H-A. So if you put H-A before iwak, it says haiwak. So Nairobi haiwak.
Okay, another question from this gentleman in the spectacles. That's you. Yeah. There is a microphone.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Vincent Ngete. I write about urban affairs. Hi, Emma. Was all these consultants, the traffic consultants, the water consultants, they would come there and they would talk and they would give highly technical information, basically orally. You would think they would present and illustrate and show things, but they just talk. That's what really struck me. But the question that I think I have been itching to ask for a long time is that all these things we're seeing, I think we can all agree, are the culmination of dysfunction that has gone on for a long time. And so getting to the systemic issues that get us here, I want to highlight just one. I think the gentleman in the corner talked about being a member of the technical committee. And I want to ask if maybe we should get rid of the technical committee. And the reason I'm proposing that is because there is no transparency about it. We don't know how they decide. We don't know if they vote yes or no. We don't know if the members of the technical committee have their own planning, engineering consultancies bringing projects forward. We don't know if there's a conflict of interest and whether they have to recuse themselves or not. That, I think, is at the heart of the problem. We don't know who decides and how they decide. And I think that what distinguishes the countries where planning works, Planner Patadolwa said, is that the decisions have to be made in public.
Part of the technical committee, or was part of the technical committee, is no longer there, but he can tell us.
Yeah, thanks very much for the question. To scrutinize the plans and give approvals. Secondly, the online system. I've sat in that committee as a representative of residents' associations, not as an appointee of the county government. So so that I can get feedback. We've been able to generally put back several applications because they were not regular. somebody has put through approvals of applications which never went through the technical committee. So we have that problem. Secondly, we were only six members representing stakeholders, including the architects, association engineers, planners. The rest of about 30 members are county staff members. So you can appreciate if there's any arm twisting at the local level, it will be done. The committee expired in November last year, and the governor was supposed to send out invitations to the stakeholders to send in representatives again, but that has not happened. However, I'm reliably informed that meetings are going on, approvals are being made without stakeholder representatives. Otherwise, if everybody sat down to do their job properly, the systems are in place to ensure that approvals get done properly. There's the issue of petitions, which somebody asked about. I discovered that when you send a petition to City Hall, they respond promptly, but they put it in the out tray. So if you don't go every day to check in the out tray to see whether you got a response, you will never know that they responded. But if you went to court, there's proof that they responded to you. So I hope one day we'll cure that mischief.
We'll have another response also from Florence. She has also sat in that committee, so she can tell us a little, and then we will go to the county plan.
All right, thank you. And I think it's very bold when somebody comes out clearly to state that there is a challenge with the technical committee. I think Nairobi is probably the only city or county that allows outsiders to actually be part of the approval process. So whereas it's a very noble thing that they're doing, having a UPTC, its efficiency, of course, is maybe what it is we are questioning today. That yes, we are there, we're represented, we've sat in that committee for a long time, but to what extent is the influence of our presence being felt in the actual approvals? I think that's wherein the question lies. My feeling and my interaction, having served there, during COVID times and everything was basically online, is that for a committee that is made up of technical personnel, we do not have even sufficient technical information for the decisions that we are making. I can assure you, this issue of talking about heights and the floor levels is exactly what we usually sit there and approve. That you're told there's a building coming up on Kindaruma Road, 14 floors. This is the land size. These are the number of units that you're going to get. It's reduced to almost one line on Excel sheet. Is that sufficient information to make decisions? I do not think so. I think it needs to be broader. These very complex developments should have a little bit more information so that it's a little bit more efficient in terms of how we are making our decisions. But I think more importantly is that when you're approving something more piecemeal as opposed to approving them based on an existing master plan, an existing development control policy, something that is tangible, that is in law, it would make it easier to make decisions. Just being on paper, as before, using the PPA 1s and 2s and so on and so forth, to something that is online, and it really worked before. And AK was involved in developing the approval system that was used from 2010 all the way up to 2020, 2021 when NMS came on board and changed the system. And you begin to realize that the entire approval process is not being looked at as a service delivery process, but as a revenue generating process. It is no longer about serving the citizens of Nairobi. It is about how much money can we collect from the developers in order to collect revenue for Nairobi. And so the service is thrown out the window and it's all about revenue collection. And therein is where the problem lies. So you continue to approve 100 to 150 developments constantly without taking care of ensuring that those areas where you're approving the development there's a master plan that you're approving them onto. There is enough sewer, enough road, and so on and so forth to be able to achieve an organized development. And so when we were in the UPTC, at least during my time, we really insisted on having LPDPs, because when you have an LPDP in front of you and a developer comes to say, I want to develop 25 stories. Let's use the current conversation that we're having, 25 stories. If the LPDP has already been approved by the citizens and they know that on this row we are allowed to build 25 stories, there is not much to think about. But when you have a conversation where you're being told a petrol station is coming near a water source and so on and so forth, it becomes difficult. It becomes a conversation. It becomes a debate in the UPTC. And on that day, it will be put aside. But the next time you come for a meeting, it's already been approved. And what powers do you have? You'll just complain about it and then nothing happens. So there's obviously a disconnect in the role of the UPTC. I do not think it should be scrapped, but I think its powers need to be improved, but based on actual legal instruments that they can use to ensure that whatever approvals that they're undertaking is actually quite important. So I think it's a good planning instrument. I think it's important that stakeholders are engaged, and stakeholders in this case, residents associations, professional associations, the agencies such as NEMA, WARMA, etc., who are usually in the same committee, they need to be involved in this. But what are they approving? What basis are they using to approve it? There's no plan that they're playing into. We don't have a master plan that they're playing into to say, yes, actually we're seeing a development here. It actually meets the planning parameters that we have put in place and the citizens have agreed to. Thank you.
So let me just add to the dialogue. And I really thank you for being here so that we can perhaps begin to share with you what this whole system of urban development is about. And I speak from the point of view of urban development deliberately so that people can understand that for you to develop a place, you have to render a plan for the development of a place. Especially if the place is complex and it has multiple activities and it requires to be sustainable. So there is also a reason why governments are constituted. Governments are constituted to remove anarchy from processes, to make sure that systems work, to make sure that things are done under the cover of law and order. Otherwise, you would not need government. But when that which is constituted formally to manage the affairs of a city fails to perform the functions that it's designed to perform, then you are a recipe for disaster. And so when you approve plans that are not based on a area development framework, there is something that you're doing that is very sinister. Because you cannot purport to approve that which is not provided for in an area development plan. No, you cannot. Where are you coming from? If somebody puts in an application for development for Kilimani, what's the basis of your considering that application? What are the parameters you're looking at? What no set of development standards and policies for that particular area, then you have nothing. You have nothing to give to an application, to an applicant. And that is the problem that we have, because we are purporting to develop a city on the basis of administrative fiat. Now, that's unacceptable. The first objective, the first responsibility of anybody elected to office is to render a plan and to prepare budgets and to show a vision for development.
Thank you. My name is Dorothy Jerethia. I am representing Runda Riviera Residents Association. Runda Riviera is a small place. I'll call it landlocked, and I will explain why. On one side, we are bordered by Runda Park. On the other side, we are bordered by Rosrini Riviera Mall. And then then behind, we have Two Rivers development. And then on the other side, we have the Northern Bypass. We were supposed to have a road going through Runda Park to come out on Mimosa Road. Then we come out through the main gate of Runda. That's how we were supposed to access civilization. But then that road has since been annexed by Runda Park, and there are houses built there, and there is a wall, so we cannot come out through there. On the Northern Bypass, there is that master plan of the road. So apparently exits were made on the other side of the road, but now later on we were being told that it's some of our houses which are going to be affected. Like the road now seems to have been shifted to to our side. And then when public participation is done, if any, it's never like brought near us. We hear it's somewhere there in Ruaka. So Northern Bypass, the road came and hung somewhere, a small roundabout there in Ruaka, and then on the other side, our part is not done. So there is that thing hanging, and we are wondering whether really the original plan is going to be changed so that now it is our houses which are being affected or not. Then on the other hand, when it comes to Two Rivers Mall, they were supposed to be building, these single-use, one-story, buildings, bordering us. But now what are they called? Those loft houses, they became 2 floors. But now we are hearing there will even be 4 floors. And now we hear there is even a new development coming to come there right next to us on the Two Rivers side, more called One Way. That's a skyscraper. So we wonder. And then obviously we have no access to, to the main roads because you hear ours was blocked. On the other side, we are just coming on the Northern Bypass, Pesapap, and we hear that they are even going to push the road more on our side. Then on this other side, it's a small convoluted thing, so we access it through Rosrin Riviera Mall. So we wonder whether really we are accommodated in the city plan and what it means. And then in Runda Riviera, all along, we have been having what we call private solutions for public problems. We brought our own electricity, we did our own roads, we collect our own garbage, we do our own water. Yet when the rates go up for the City Council of Nairobi, it's double, it's affecting us. So we wonder really, where do we fit? Who are we? How is this gonna happen? And then obviously there's even a big hotel which was approved right in the middle of our talk of public participation. When we learned about it, that public participation was happening somewhere in Big Five. And then there were people from Githogoro and whatever house we were not like served, directly. Okay, we have since come to learn about it. We are accepted to live with it. But then there are those kind of, problems surrounding us. I don't know whether we have any hope of having especially the access. And this issue of the Northern Bypass now, the extension being shifted to our side. So you planners tell us whether now those original master plans get changed to be taken to the people who don't have a big voice, and then what hope we have. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much. And you can hear her pain. Huh? And I think that's the pain of all residents of Nairobi. I think someone asked about pipeline and whether it's okay for pipeline to. I can bet you if you went and asked, you'd hear the same passion in terms of what is wrong with pipeline. It should not be happening in pipeline. It should not be happening in Runda. And maybe just to address, what you're saying in terms of the core to when I heard you speak is that process of where is forward planning. A bypass comes. it had not thought about certain aspects of it, and this is what we are saying and addressing today, and saying there must be order. In terms of historically, I think we all know, and just in terms of just letting everybody know, there was a 1948 sort of plan based sort of on the colonial city. In 1973, we had Planner Patrick talk about the other plan that we had, which was the Nairobi Metropolitan Growth Strategy. Then now came New Plan. New Plan, finally, after all the hard work, was published in 2014, but it has a 10-year expiry. So actually, ladies and gentlemen, New Plan expires this year. And nothing has come now to take that new plan and bring it down to Runda and Ruaka. Ruaka is one of the centers that was supposed to be planned for, and looking at the bigger picture of where is it, large trunk lines, where are they running, where are the bypasses running. So your pain is actually the pain of not cascading down this big plan that was New Plan and bringing it down to the sub-centers. There were very many, and we had stated some of them, in terms of Woodley, in terms of Ruaka, in terms of Kibra. Kibra, there's been on and off because it's a sort of special area. We know some success stories, and I don't know whether there's someone from here from Mukuru, but Mukuru have managed to have a plan. And we're saying all citizens of Nairobi, whether they're in Pipeline or whether they're in Runda, they deserve an area plan that is owned by them. And we're not saying we're going to stop people from developing. We're saying it's a joint vision by those who want to develop and those who live and those who play in those areas. Yeah. So in terms of answering you, I mean, I don't think any of us here are on Kenha or even work in the city, but what we hear you is your pain of these public participation processes that are happening without you who are actually feeling the pinch being part of the process. And we empathize with you. Thank you.
Good morning.
All right, thank you. Just before you say anything, we are nearing the end of our day today, so we're going to take 2 more questions. So from you, dear lady, and that other lady standing up there. Yeah, so kindly. All right, let's go.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Ranjana from South Sea Residents Association and South Sea Ward, as they call it. My question is this. We have raised a statement today. We have raised millions of petitions. We have raised millions of concerns. We have attended so many public participations. This is plan A, let's put it that way. What happens after this? What is the resolution? Would you expect Governor Sakaja to give you an answer on this? And after that, what happens? Mind you, we are representing our residents. We have to go back and tell them that this might happen or this might not happen. You have sat on the panels, you are professionals. Some of us are professionals as well. But then now what is the resolution? We need to give a solution to this. We don't know how long this high rises will last really, because none of them have any inspections. Before the government brought in devolution, we used to have inspectorates coming and inspecting the buildings. But the 35 high-story buildings in South Sea have never been inspected, and I can vouch for it. So my question is this: what is our solution ahead? We have neighborhood acts, we have so many acts, but there's no mandate on it. We as resident associations should have an approval coming from the body to the county to say, yes, we approve this plan or not. It should come from us. I normally give this example of Karangata, who have done very well in those yesteryears when they strangled Nairobi City County by not paying rates. I think it will boil down to that, because why should we be strangled, really? Thank you.
Thank you very much. There was another question right at the end there.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Louise Nyamu-Steinbeck. I'm the chairperson of Lauretia South Residents Association, and I'm here with my former chair, Geoff Lusenyo, who's the chairperson of our Lauretia Mount Alliance. So I have seen a lot on KOT, on Twitter, about the leafy suburbs complaining when other less disadvantaged suburbs have been having this problem for long. So I won't go into that. My question is, here we are talking about Nairobi, but I'd really be interested in knowing what are the experiences of the other 3 cities. How are their plans going on? Are there development plans for those cities? Because if we're having this problem in Nairobi, soon it will cascade to Kisumu, Mombasa, and Nakuru for sure. So what, there are large organizations, associations here, AAK is here, which is a national body. What are your experiences when it comes to those other cities? And not just that, do the counties themselves, seeing as housing is also it's a devolved function, do the counties have these plans in place for their areas? A lot of us also have homes, ancestral homes in other counties. What can we expect when we are there? In 10 years, is it the same thing going to happen that is happening now in Nairobi? Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. We'll take those two questions. Firstly, I think that there's the first question by Rajenna. I would like to ask Samora of Karen. I know that you have some experience in dealing with these things. Could you maybe just give us a comment on that, kindly, Samora?
Thank you, David. Greetings, everybody. My name is Samora Sikalye. I'm here today representing Karen Langata District Association, otherwise known as Karangata. Allow me also just to mention that today it looks like we were digressing a bit. We came today to tell the county that we know what has been going on. There's a problem that has been going on in Nairobi. And that in any way does not mean that the questions being raised here are invalid. They are valid. But there'll be another day for that. The reason I'm saying that is because some of the questions you're posing to the panelists, they do not have those answers because they are not the county. What we're here today and why the panelists called the press was to tell the governor that we are sick and tired. We're here to tell the governor, because he's the leader of the county, that we are aware of the Physical and Land Use Planning Act. And even though we were not aware, we are starting to be aware of it because of the problems that are coming about because of lack of physical planning. Patrick Adolo has clearly stated it, that the Director of Physical Planning should be an important person. Currently, the Physical Planning Act of 2019, the Director of Physical Planning is responsible for physical planning at the local physical level and development approvals. My question is to the room, none of you probably know who the Director of Physical Planning is. The reason also the media was called here today is for us to ask questions. Where is the County Executive Committee member of Urban Planning? Who has been there, Patrick Adolwa, probably even before I started school. He's now the current CC of planning. Where is he? He's never seen. Those are the questions that we are posing, and that is why we called this meeting today, not to ask questions to the panelists, but to tell the county we are aware of the problems and we are sick and tired. If the governor is not going to listen to us because it's difficult to find the governor who was elected, we will compel you to follow the Physical Planning Act. If you're not going to listen, we will use the courts because that's almost where we are getting to. Even if it means going to courts to seek a moratorium to stop developments happening until you give us local physical development plans. That is why we had this meeting today. And if the professional bodies are not going to do it, Karen Langata District Association will do it. And we are calling on all neighborhood associations to join in. It's not a matter of chit-chat anymore, as I'm seeing going around in this room today. You will chit-chat forever. These problems did not start the other day. Let us pass a resolution today. We have told the governor and the county assembly and the county officials, Nairobi residents are sick and tired. Let me say this. A question was raised. It's becoming a narrative of class. Pipeline, Karen, Lavington, Kileleshwa, Kilimani. It's not about class. Two wrongs do not make a right. Because the gibberish was allowed to take place in Pipeline, it doesn't mean we allow it to continue happening. What we're trying to say, development is allowed. It's inevitable. I give the example of Karen. It first started as 20-acre plots, 10-acre plots, 5-acre plots, and down to 1-acre plots. We've never stopped development. We're okay with development because it must happen. What we're trying to say is, if you have to have these 25-story buildings, where I think you threw out the Physical Planning Act from, what we're trying to say is plan for it. You do not go to shower with your clothes and then you remove the clothes once you're in the shower. Let today's meeting be that we are starting to ask questions on the Physical Planning Act. And neighborhood associations and the professional bodies in this room today, let us start asking questions on the Physical Planning Act. If those questions are not answered, we have the courts that will compel the county to follow it. My good friend here is talking about impeachment. I do not want to make it political. All I want to emphasize in, let us get to know of what the Physical Planning Act entails. That is what will control development, and that is what is supposed to guide development. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I think that you have brought us home. You have definitely brought us home. This is kindly what we have been targeting and what we want to achieve. This meeting was to send a message that indeed our planning function is not visible and we need to see it come to pass. And we will indeed be getting together all the associations that are here, all the professional bodies that are concerned, to make a concerted effort to make a difference in the city of Nairobi. It is going to happen. Come rain, come shine. This Nairobi must change. And it starts with the people. When the people are together, when everyone is one in voice, we shall be able to achieve whatever is that is ahead of us. We can overtake and we can overturn. There are precedents in this city of buildings coming down. We remember Taj Mahal came down. Remember Nakumatt UK came down. These people who are rushing to build up structures without plans, their buildings can come down. And so people should not rush and think that Kenyans are sleeping. We are not asleep. And we are coming and we are going to move forward. There was a last question. That was for him. All right. Thank you very much. I think that we have come to the end of our time, and that was a good way to finalize what we have done. Thank you very much, each of you, for coming and for participating in this meeting. I want to invite Jeff Luceno to come and to say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. As you've heard, my name is Jeff Luceno. I'm the Vice Chairman of Metro Alliance. I'm the Chairman of Loresho Mount, which is a small assembly, a small alliance of residential communities in Loresho. And I'm a former Chairman of Loresho South Residents Association. I would like to stress, for the benefit of any doubts, we as residential associations and professionals are not against development. We are not against progress. What our aim, objective, and prayer is to bring sense in that progress and forward movement. As it is right now, we are behaving as if there is no future, because our leaders are thinking of their bellies today and not the future of the city that we will give to the future leaders who are our children. We have been working at convening an entity, an apex body that will provide us all with a voice to speak as one. Essentially, if I use Mradi as an example, in the past, typically what has happened is that we have sat in our houses, watched on TV and said, oh, pole, wamekufa. But that should not be the case. The pain felt by the people of Mradi should be the pain felt by all of us. And if we speak together as one voice, we would prevent and avoid what happened in Mradi from happening in other places. I live in Loresho, which should be an upmarket area, but believe it or not, we have raw sewage flowing through the estate, which has been the case for the last 10 years. We have tried and tried and tried to get this resolved, but it has never been resolved. Recently, we were informed that there is a plan to change our zoning regulation from single dwelling to multiple dwelling and allow 7 floors. 7 floors where? There is no infrastructure. As it is, I'm saying that we have raw flowing sewage. And you want to give 7 floors on 250 properties. I mean, where is the sense in that? Here in this building where we are hosting this meeting, we have a borehole that isn't working. It's running dry because every property around us has got a borehole. Where is the planning in that? We have sewage that backs up into our basement. And if you look through the window, there are taller buildings than us. Where is the planning in that? So we are not against development. What we are saying is, can it be planned? Can it follow the law? So we are asking after the presser that those of you who have a moment to spare, please remain back. Let us introduce our vision. Let us inform you what we are doing. That will not form part of the press conference. So kindly bear with us for a few more minutes after the presser. Thank you.
So as we come to the end of the meeting, I want to invite Peter Kitavi from Kilimani Project Foundation to give us a vote of thanks.
Good morning, everyone. I say again, good morning. I'm glad that you all gathered here today because we are all guilty for demanding an enhanced quality of life. As a resident of Kilimani, when I look through the window, I can see a lot of green, but I promise you this is not the green kind of Nairobi that I'm looking forward to living and having the next generation live in. I have a very simple job, and that is to give a vote of thanks to the various entities that have made this convening possible. A huge shout out to Metro Alliance for being our gracious host for this morning. I also want to appreciate the conveners of the press statement. I'd like to appreciate the Architectural Association of Kenya, the Kilimani Project Foundation, Lavington 5 Roads Association, Kilelesho Ward Neighborhood Association. In the words of Simon Sinek, leadership is not about being in charge, it's about taking care of those in your charge. And in this, I'd like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the distinguished individuals and organizations who have graced us with their presence today for this joint statement. We also extend our gratitude to all the stakeholders, including the city planners, architects, developers, and community leaders who have contributed their expertise and insights to this important decision-making process. Your dedication to the betterment of Nairobi is truly commendable. Furthermore, we express our appreciation to the media representatives for their coverage of this significant announcement, helping us to ensure that the public is informed and engaged in discussions about the future of our city. In conclusion, I'd like us to urge us all to contribute and continue to work together to collaboratively work towards building a vibrant, inclusive, and sustainable Nairobi for generations to come. Your presence and support to underscore the importance of civic engagement and collective action in shaping the future of our communities is important. Thank you once again, everyone involved in your invaluable contributions and commitment to the progress of Nairobi. Thank you.
So thank you once again for coming. If at all you're here and you're a chairman of a residents association or some of the professional bodies, there is a signature that we want on the official document. If you just pass by the table and sign, we'll appreciate that. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.